Hello and welcome, intermediate students, to another intermediate lesson at LearnPianoLive.com. This is an intermediate lesson, so the assumption is that you can probably play a couple songs at least well enough to impress a couple friends. You might have some basic understanding of music theory or something, but you really haven't had any formal training. So if that's you, you're in the right place. If you feel, throughout this lesson like it's way too advanced, you might want to go back and check out yesterday's lesson. It's in the archives, the beginner's version of this lesson. That might answer a lot of your questions, but feel free to ask away, ask any questions. This is about you and me, so you got to ask questions so I know, how to help you best. And there's a couple other things I want to talk to you too about before this countdown clock hits 0. All right, first and most important, ask a lot of questions. The way that you're going to do that is there's a couple different ways. You can jump in the chat room and talk with the other students who are logged in at the same time. I'll be watching the chat room too. You can ask your questions there. Or if it's a question that's just for me, a question about the lesson, especially if you know it's one that's going to fit best at the question and answer time at the end, then you can just put your name and your question in the box below this video, click submit, and then I will get that. Now, if you're already in the archives, if you're watching this not live, but you're watching this in the archives, then make sure at the end of the lesson you click on the survey button. You don't have to fill out the entire survey. If you want to, I'd love your feedback, but really the best part of that is that you can put your question in there, and then when you click submit, then I will get all of your questions. I'll make sure that you get them answered, whether you're in the archives or you're live. Right next to this video, there should be a PDF button and an MP3 button. Now, you don't really need those till after the lesson because I'm going to be showing you on screen the PDF and showing you how to use it. And I'll play the MP3 during the lesson too, so you know at the end of the lesson how you're going to use that. Some people, though, like to print out the PDF ahead of time, so as I'm making notes on my version, they can make the same notes on their version, but it works either way. All right, this is perhaps the most important part. You need to leave the lesson when you feel like you're sufficiently challenged. So, I'm teaching these lessons, 12 to 15 lessons a month. Normally, in traditional lessons, you're getting like a lesson every other week or so. So this is just way too much for you to take in. So, the goal is for you to get some little nugget of something that you can really practice on, really work on. Once you feel like you have that, then you really don't need anything else from me. Go practice. That's where this stuff is really going to happen. You're not going to get through this lesson and be able to play something really well. You're going to get through this lesson and have the information that you need to practice more effectively. That's really the goal here. So don't feel bad about taking off early. If you feel like halfway through the lesson you got as much as you can take in at that time, then go practice that thing, and then come back whenever you've got that thing down, or you're bored with it, or you just want to check out the next topic. Don't forget also that you've got the archives too. So if you want to see one little thing, just repeat it over and over and over. Just give me, hopefully within 24 hours after the lesson, this thing will be up in the archive, so you can just go back and watch it over and over and over and over and just get that little segment down. All right, so to be totally honest with you, today is my least favorite topic. Out of the 8 sectors of musicianship that are out there, I'd rather focus on any of them than literacy. But that's what we're doing, because literacy, as it turns out, is extremely important. So I have found a place in my heart to love this topic, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit more about how you can become more literate, so you can have someone just put sheet music down in front of you, say ready, set, play, and you'll be able to read that with greater and greater accuracy. I'm ready. I'm ready. Are you ready? Let's go. All right, welcome back one and all. Through our broadcasting woes, I think we have found a temporary solution, and that is we're broadcasting at 1 resolution right now, and then this week, after tomorrow's broadcast, after the advanced lesson tomorrow, then we are building out a whole new system to stream with. So hopefully we should be able to stream in 1080p and have it not crash on us. So if none of those words made sense to you, good news. That has nothing to do with piano at all. If you're watching this video, then you've got everything that you need. But for those of you who are interested in that stuff, and it seems that several of you are, then there we go. It's coming. It's coming. So after the feedback from yesterday's lesson, I realized I need to put in the intro to the literacy lessons that these types of lessons are not for people who are in Clopple Academy for the most part, because this is going over all the stuff that you would get step by step in Clopple Academy. So this is mostly for people who are not used to reading music, and I'm just trying to like sneak some of the vegetables in with the mac and cheese. Maybe that's disgusting, but I'm just trying to like sneak a little bit of the stuff in here so that you can kind of pick up on some of the basics. And then if this is really interesting to you, you're interested in like learning all the other steps, you might want to think about joining Clopple Academy, because while a lot of the concepts in there are boring, a lot of the boring concepts are really helpful. So anyway, with that disclaimer, for those of you if you're already in Clopple Academy and you feel like, oh, I'm already covering this stuff, or we already went through this stuff in level 2 or whatever, then you're in good company. Lots of people feel the same way you are, and these lessons are not intended for you because you're already learning all this stuff in the right order. Okay, having said that, let's jump in here and see what we got. Today we're going over special symbols. And by the way, I am, because we have, there we go. Because we have a limited amount of like right in here. Whoa, where is that? There we go. Your PDF is a lot smaller now on the screen. I'm trying to get used to just having that little part of my screen be the part that I focus on. So I'm sorry if in the next few lessons I write outside of where you can see. Just tell me in the comments, I guess. So here we go. This is special symbols. So there's a few things that you need to know. The first two that we're going to have are a staccato and legato. So if you see something like this right here over multiple notes, and it's like a big swooshing line like that, that means you're supposed to play those legato or all smooth and connected. So that would be something like that. So that's all nice and smooth and connected. Versus if we had, and I couldn't put this in the sheet music because I wanted to show you the different examples on the same notes. If we had dots underneath those would be called staccato. And staccato is just all really short. Not fast, but short. Versus, now, I did use the pedal to help me connect all of those notes there, but legato is the one with the swooshy line. Now, there's another swooshy line, and that is over notes that are the same. So that was over a bunch of different notes. If we just have two notes that are the same and a single swooshy line connecting those, that means that you actually don't play the second note. You just play the first note and hold it out. This one is called a tie because it ties those two notes together. The other one is called a slur, because you're slurring all of those notes together, playing them. The official word again is legato. But yeah, so those are the two types of swoopy lines that you could have. The tie would be something like this. We wouldn't play this one, and we would hold this one out through both of those notes. So it'd be something like that. So we didn't play this one right here. We just play that first one. The counting on this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, because these notes are filled in and have a stem. And as we talked about in yesterday's lesson, that makes these quarter notes each worth 1 beat. This one right here being worth beat 1, that being getting beat 2, which is also one single beat named beat 2. This would get the single beat that is named 3, and this would get the single beat that is named 4. So because those are all quarter notes. So if we were to play this one with those two tied together, let me get rid of this stuff again. We'd have beats 1, 2, 3, and 4. Only we're going to tie these together, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So I actually played 1, and I played 3, and I played 4, but I didn't play 2 there because those two were tied together. All right. By the way, your MP3, because I frequently forget to tell you what the MP3 is, it's just this thing at 80 beats per minute. So once you have read through this, you think you can play this through, then you can turn on your MP3, and then hopefully that sounds like what you are playing. All right, so then we have those. We did the dots. Now, we did do a dot yesterday that we didn't go into enough detail on, so we need to talk about that. That is the dot off to the side. But also, there's one more symbol that you need, and that is called a fermata or a bird's eye. So if you see something like this, and if you are in Clopple Academy and you're still listening to this lesson, then first of all, thanks for joining us. And also, you don't really hit these until we're in, I believe, Clopple Academy level, I think you learn about them in level 1, but then it's going to be like level 4 before you actually start utilizing these. So that's called a bird's eye, is the layman's term. Fermata is the technical term, and that just means to play that note as long as you want or feel. So that's kind of difficult if you're playing with other people, because you all have to feel that that note is worth the same amount. So this note right here, that would then be moving on to the next one. So you'd see this in places like, for example, Happy Birthday. That note right there, there's no like right amount of time to hold on to it. Definitely longer than the rest of the song, because everyone's kind of slowed down there and everyone kind of looks around and waits. All right, when is everybody coming back in? And then we're all back in. So that would be an example of where you would use a fermata, is on that one note. So it's not a crazy long time, but it's longer than normal, and it just kind of goes out of time. No one's really counting at that point. They're all just kind of feeling it out. Maybe they should call it feel it out. I haven't really thought about that. That's probably a terrible name for it. Fermata works. So that's the bird's eye, or the fermata. Then this guy right here is going to be a dot that's off to the side. It looks a lot like a staccato, like what we just talked about. But on a staccato, I gotta stop circling things. That's not helpful at all. So on a staccato, the dot is right below the note. If the stem is going up, it's opposite of the stem. If the stem is going down, like this one, it would be on, nope, see, I'm outside of the screen. It'd be right there. So in this case, that's your staccato. In this case, that's your staccato. That's different than if the dot is off to the side. If it's off to the side, it means that you're going to add half again the original value of the note. So in this case, this note right here is worth 1 beat, because it's a quarter note. It's filled in. And then if we were to add half of that, quarter note is worth 1 beat. Half of 1 beat is half of a beat. So we add that to the original value of 1 beat. And so this ends up getting 1.5 or 1.5 beats. So then we would end up counting that one, like this one right here would get 1, and if we were going to split up the counts, nope, I can't just say that. 1, 2, 3, 4, you can see that, good. So if we were to split each of these beats up into 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and, we'll be doing more of this in tomorrow's lesson, which, by the way, is going to be early. I need to change the schedule to show that that's going to be, I believe it was 11:45, but I will put that on the schedule. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 becomes 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. If we're counting with half beats, because that's the only way that we could count with half beats, is if we have some name for each of the half beats. So now a quarter note would get, right here, still 1 beat, and that 1 beat is 1 and. Quarter note right here would get 2 and. Quarter note right here would get 3 and so on and so forth. But if this, oops, there we go. If this note right here has a dot on it, then it would get 1.5 beats. So instead of just getting 2 and, it would get 2 and then another half a beat, 3. Right there. So that would get, this one right here would get 1 and, this would get 2 and 3, 1 and 2, nope, that's outside of where you can see, 2 and 3, And then if we had like another dotted quarter right here, then this would get 3 half beats, or a beat and a half. So the next half beat is this and right down here, because we haven't used it yet. We used the 3, but we didn't use the and of the 3. So we'd get and, 4, and. So both of these notes here, that one and that one, are dotted quarters. They are each getting 3 halves of a beat, or a beat and a half each. So we'd have 1 and, 2 and 3, and 4 and. So that's what the dot does. It adds half again the original value of the note. So those are the two different types of dots that you could have, either a staccato, which is above, directly above or below the note, and then if it's off to the side, that's half again the original value. Okay, so that was the special note types that we didn't go over yesterday. Real quickly here, the other types of notes that you would need are this one right here. That's a whole note. That's worth, that's off your screen. That's a whole note. That's worth 4 beats. So I would get 1, 2, 3, 4. These over here, filled in with a stem, are quarter notes. They would each get 1 beat, like 1, 2, or 3, or 4. And then we also have half notes, like these guys right here. These guys are hollow, but they have a stem. So these quarter notes right here, filled in with a stem, hollow with a stem is a half note, and that gets 2 beats. So this would be 1, 2. This one right here would be 3, 4. These right up here would be 1, 2, 3, and 4, which means that these would get played at the same time. These would get played at the same time. And then this guy would happen kind of in between. While this bottom note here was holding out on that 2, then this one would, can't see that either. This quarter note up here would get played while this half note was being held out. So it would be something like 1, 2, 3, 4. That was that second measure again. 1, 2, while that left hand is being held out. 3, 4. Hopefully that makes some sense. And then we have, the bass clef. So yesterday we only went over the treble clef, and then everyone asked, what about the bass clef? So in the bass clef, the treble clef, the spaces, the letters for the spaces are F-A-C-E, which is awesome because it spells a word, yay, and boo, the word doesn't have anything at all to do with music. So you just have to remember the word face, and that is the names of the notes that are on the spaces of the treble clef. On the bass clef, everything is off by 2 notes or 1 space. So this right here, down here is an F down below the bass clef. So if you had a note like right here, that one right there would be an F. And then this guy right here would be an A right here. This one right here would be a C, which is that note right there. So that note actually is a C. And then this one would be an E. But then we have one more space here, and that space is a G. So the spaces of the bass clef almost spell face, but they don't. They spell ace-g. Yay! That's as unhelpful as face. But it might help, I don't know, to just remember that maybe the F starts down on the space below the bass clef, and on the treble clef, the F of face starts actually on the bottom space there. So maybe, hopefully, that'll help you out, knowing the spaces of the bass clef. I think that's the whole thing. Let's jump over to our wrap up. Hopefully we can wrap up some of this stuff and help it to make sense. If it didn't before already, we talked about a lot of different symbols. We talked about the dots above or below a note, how those are staccatos, and it means to play it quickly or separated. Sorry, not quickly. To stop playing the note quickly. So to make it the beginning and the end of the note are close together. But that does not mean that the next note should start any sooner. It just means that sound was short. That's staccato. These are all staccato. When you have staccato notes, it does not mean you have to play them quickly together. Just means that each individual note is short. The dot off to the side, though, means add another 50% to the value of the note, or make the whole note 150% of its value, or add half the original value of the note to it, or add half again the original value. We talked about counting, which I didn't expect to do here with the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's how we count eighth notes or half beats in case we need to do that. In the case of, for example, a dotted quarter note where we have a half a beat. We talked about the spaces of the treble clef and how that is F-A-C-E, and the spaces of the bass clef, how that is A-C-E-G. Or some people say like all cows eat grass is a really popular one, or all cars eat gas, or I forget what the others are. But anyway, so they have special, whatever sayings for them, but none of them are better than any of the others, unfortunately. That one was a C. And then lastly, we talked about bass clef. No, that was the last thing we talked about. We talked about note types, whole notes, half notes, quarter notes. We talked about special symbols. We talked about slurs, how that connects notes unless it's over the same exact note, in which case it's a tie, and you're just going to tie those two notes together and not play the second of the notes. Whew. Okay, cool. Well, let's get to question and answer time. And my laptop is shut down. Here we go. Question number 1. Which clef is the alto clef? I can't see one. Yeah, we are not dealing with the alto clef at all. So the alto clef is something you would perhaps see if you were in choir. Yep. Or if you were in a music theory class. But almost 100% of piano music is going to be just treble clef and bass clef. So we're not dealing with that at all. But I think that eventually in Clapple Academy you have to hit alto clefs. But they're outside of singing in a choir pretty rare. So there is not one on here, and we don't get into that. Probably in any of the live lessons, most likely, unless a bunch of people request it. And we'll do anything in a live lesson. Next one. Should I try reading classical music or pop to get better at reading? Whichever you, it's all helpful. If you're practicing reading, then you're getting better. In the same way that I would answer the question, should I read like Moby Dick, or should I read, what's another name of another book? Sherlock Holmes. I think that's a book. It doesn't matter. I would say whatever you're most excited to read, try reading that, with the caveat that the harder stuff is harder. So it's going to be a lot slower to get through. So some easier stuff. After yesterday's lesson, I made a note. A couple people sent me some. They said there's an adventure piano series for sight reading that's pretty good, to just like real basic reading stuff that goes through like different levels of sight reading, as well as a set of like books called, I looked it up. It's by Paul Harris, and it's like called Sight Reading or something like that. But anyway, so I'm told that they are great books by some of you, so I believe you. There's, like I said, reading anything is going to make you better at reading. It's just a matter of like getting in. Don't spend too much time trying to find the right thing to read. Just, if you want to get better at reading, go read. Yeah, okay. That was depressing. And there's not another question, so we're going to have to end on that one. But yeah, go out and read stuff if you want to get better at reading. If you don't want to get better at reading, that's fine. Good for you. Play whatever's fun. Whatever you're doing, good luck, have fun, and remember, I love you.